Welcome back. We're here to do the Divine Masculine update for the week. Let's take a look at what is going on here. First message I got is that for some, this individual has a choice between two paths. This also could be if they are in a karmic relationship. My highest guides are showing me that they're very, very strongly thinking about you. This feels a little bit of a karmic lesson. And it's interesting because we will have a lot of placements moving into the house of Gemini. And the first thing I did really get was a lot of overthinking. I also feel they're going back down memory lane of a conversation that they had with you. And this can be to do with you preferably to be the number one cat in town. It's wanting that kind of connection where the person is directly focusing the energy on you at this point in time. They're looking at how relationships in the past have directly impacted them and why they decided at times to really pull back and run. I do feel they also realise that in the context of this, it's funny because they're holding so dearly onto this cat, and it's got this grin and its orange chakra. It's to do with power and how they physically use it. The reference point they're making is the actions are going to be quite key. Psychologically, it's almost like they realize and they do know what they need to do to make this a physical reality. And they do feel that if they follow those steps and they follow through, this is going to be more positive than negative. They know they have the intellect, they have knowledge and wisdom, and this also can be to do with previous conversations that they had with Divine Feminine. Making a choice, following through, having the conversations, expressing their personal truth through this physical circumstance. Yeah, they feel that there needs to be a clearing of the air. And this can be, like I said, if Divine Feminine has been really in that standpoint of knowing what they want, showing Divine Masculine, and Divine Masculine had been in that stage of the runner energy, avoidance, delaying, this individual here again is looking back and really frustrated with themselves. It's like, okay, there's been a lot of nonsense. There's been a lot of things that have been sidetracking me. I'm needing to get into the let's get this situation moving. I also feel a very strong conversation occurring with this past position. Again, I do feel this is a big conversation linked to karmics. The light has been shone on this individual. This person maybe was meek at a point in time and didn't really want to cut to the chase, where they stood, how they felt, what the blockages were. This can be a revelation, some gossip coming through to Divine Feminine also. But this is moving to the past position, which is a positive situation. I do feel in the last 2 months there has been a lot of dramas where it did come to lack of forward momentum, frustration, both with the eclipses and Mercury retrograde. And as we move into the month, I do physically see this to be a positive situation, especially because it is moving to the past. I can't say they're necessarily happy with everything the way it stands at this point in time. This can be a time they're really looking at their world and their life and wanting to change some things. It's almost like that sacrifice we make to attain a goal. And I'm seeing this person, yes, they could be a little bit critical on themselves, I think ultimately the point is they're having a revelation. I think that's a very healthy thing. And so it's really the first step, and also the forgiveness of the heart. I do feel there's some things in their heart space that they're wanting to repair and fix. They know that they haven't been the most perfect individual on the planet, but they also feel, really tapping into that is only going to sabotage them even further. So it's about, yes, acknowledging the fact that these things maybe didn't turn out according to plan, but what to do from here, how to go about actually moving those things around in our life. They're referencing 3 areas of life. They're also referencing a deep conversation. This conversation, for some, it can be a heart-centered conversation. They're wondering and apprehensive about how you will take this. You may also get subliminals. Spiritually, sometimes even divine masculine needs to know where they stand, even if you have repeated it 100 times. We have listening for the truth. And it's funny, it's in reverse, and it can be, that whole notion, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's getting into that conversation piece and how to share and articulate that information. Again, I do think this person is going down the rabbit hole and they're really thinking about the things that have been said, reviewing it and trying to get that confidence inside them so that they can actually follow through. There could also be a person that has lied to them, where they could be confronting this individual, and it's the body language they're sensing. It's not what you're saying, it's what you're doing. They also feel that divine feminine can see through the darkness. They can see through. They're wondering how you can, but they just know ultimately it can't be something that they fake. It has to be something that's really true and authentic. That it's this sixth sense that you hold, and there's a brutal honesty between both parties here, where it's just not something that they can actually fake. And I feel divine feminine has really stated their sovereignty and knows what they want, knows that they want to be queen. No halfway butts in between. This in their mind is, at times they've felt very delusional. It's like, how can there be somebody that can like me? There's some realistic things they may need to do. I'll say that. They know that this will be not perfect. We've got the dream energy here. Such a curious dream. There's the pink energy, there's the heart chakra. How to get things off the ground. Grounding, returning to reality, coming home. Again, I do feel in the here and now, there could be, as we do move into the month of June, some things they need to move around to alleviate some of this pressure. So it could be addressing the elephant in the room. It can be having deep conversations with individuals, stating their sovereignty, taking direct action to cycle old situations out. And I think regardless whether they are taking action or not, I really do see these times with transition and transformation almost like a birthing canal. There is this rebirth. There is this transition we all directly are going through. They are a shoe at the start card, but it doesn't mean to say this process has been easy. So it is about really addressing these areas. Sometimes we do also have spiritual tests, and it's funny because this came through in the crowning energy as a possibility of a spiritual test. But what these tests generally do, they can come in threes. they generally increase your inner truth beyond the ego of what you are moving towards is for you. So it helps clarify those things. It's not that you fail. It's setting you up for success. It's setting you up for the star card in tarot. There is love here between both parties. There is the spiritual energy. They're also really reflecting. It's almost like they have pictured over their lifetime images of the both of you in the same house, photos on the wall, memories, that connection, almost feeling this frequency that this connection was a very, how can I say it? Very spiritual connection, like they knew you before. Wow, I never noticed this on this card. Yeah, you've bewitched them. Some are actually mentioning, they're looking at a karmic individual for those that are in a karmic relationship. And the relationship doesn't have to be romantic. Let me be perfectly clear. But they're literally looking at it going, was I was I under some voodoo spell? What was I thinking? Um, and I'm sure many of you can relate, being in a connection and looking back and thinking, gee, for some it can be in your younger years where you're actually addressing these things. You think a person is the love of your life and you wake up and you realize it's something polar opposite and you probably would have never, gone there in the first place. You're like, how did I? This is kind of the energy that is coming through. They're really reflecting upon it and going, how the heck did I get there? Was I under some spell? They've been under a spell with you, though, for a very, very long time. For a very long time. They always knew this was going to be an amazing connection. Somebody could be tempting them, but I do feel it's almost like they've seen the pattern. They've definitely seen the pattern. I definitely do feel in order to reach the star card, there can be an inch of success here. Quite a big one, actually. And I feel spiritually this could be the tower that's required. It's the tower that's creating, the star. It's in order to get success. This is what I'm going to need to do. It's very Jupiter energy. Self-sabotaging ways can be because we're not quite ready for that glory. We're not quite ready for that transition. We don't quite believe in ourselves. But remember what I said. It is sometimes with the Trinity energy, the threes, where these spiritual tests we go through are to get us to that star card in tarot. And, I feel this person's almost delaying, but I feel there's a reason. But I feel the delaying isn't to do with divine feminine. I feel it's to do with not believing everything that comes out of people's mouths, really being logical when it comes to it, seeing personal patterns of other people and being able to pass that test and stepping back and spiritually protecting themselves. We're going to go into clarifying to see if there's any other messages that they want to give us linking to this transition that Divine Masculine's going through. Okay, what is the choice that Divine Masculine is making during this week's transition, please? Yeah, this is to do with really coming to terms with the past, to do with old karmic cycles, and really having a choice, knowing. And it's funny because the choice actually is ever so logical to them. It's to do with divine feminine. Yeah, definitely. Something is going by the wayside, and this is more the toxic elements of connections. Marriages, partnerships, contracts, friendship groups. It's like no BS now. Needing to, wow, we just got in the heart space reunion card. This is actually sticking up for themselves and being really quite focused. The masculine, where it does come to, they're going to fight for you. We're having the soldier coming through. This is in the heart space. If they feel, they've kind of said to themselves, if you are not going to listen, I'm going to have to make you. I'm going to have to prove myself. Like I said, it was really coming through that they know what to do. They do know what to do. They do have the recipe guide. Wow, I'm hearing the term no room for error. Yeah, no room for ever. No room for ever or error. They do know it's going to take time to heal the circumstance with divine feminine. There is a commitment to move hell and high water for this. I get this very strong feeling for some there's going to be communication. Yeah, this is two's company, three's a crowd. Casting situations out, being very clear about what their star is, not being their own worst enemy. Really, it's almost like it comes up in your head and you're thinking about the person and you go back down the rabbit hole. And, this was something that they got quite scared by when it would come up, because they're like, why am I thinking about this person? I don't even have my life together. Right person, wrong time. How do I address this? Wow, they're really guarding this. They're really protecting this. They know what their commitment is. They know where they're... it's that Rita Ora song, I picked my poison and it's you. Wow. Well, that's so positive. Where it comes to the procrastination and the outcome, I'm just going to be real. This is like, this connection is so deep. I'm noticing the cat. I'm noticing the moon. Two clarifying cards. Both of them are saying there's no time to wait. There's no time but now. This is almost like this notion this person's running out of time. It's like, I've got to do something now. I really have to do something now. Tell me how this lands for you. I'd love to know if movement is happening. Trust your psychic energy as well as your guides, or you can book a personal reading. We will come back next week to see where the energy's at. So stick around.